My name is Elina, and today we are diving into a topic that's incredibly important, one that affects everyone, regardless of gender, age, or social status. We'll talk about how to truly accept yourself, how to build confidence and self-worth, and how to develop a healthy self-esteem and genuine self-love. There is a lot of helpful insight in this video, so make sure to watch till the end. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss future videos, and also find the link to my Instagram in the description below. What does true self-acceptance really mean? It's the ability to recognize and value yourself, your strengths, flaws, emotions, and experiences as a whole. It means treating yourself with kindness, compassion, and understanding, the way you would treat a close friend. Self-acceptance includes a realistic awareness of both your strengths and weaknesses. It's about being honest and objective with yourself, and understanding that flaws and mistakes are simply part of being human. Let me share a bit of my own experience. When I was younger, up until around 25, maybe even 27, I had a strong sense of idealism. I barely noticed my flaws. I rarely compared myself to others, and when I did, it was usually in a way that made me feel better about myself. It was like I was looking at myself through rose-colored glasses that gave me confidence, but at the same time, I wasn't aware of my weak points, so I didn't work on them. Then around age 28, closer to 30, everything started to shift. Suddenly I began to doubt myself more. I got caught up in overthinking, started comparing myself to others, but now in ways that made me feel worse. It felt like I had fallen, like the rose-colored glasses had come off, and I was seeing myself and the world in a much harsher, more negative light. I think this shift also had a lot to do with turning 30, that classic turning point or identity crisis that so many of us go through. I'm about to turn 33, and over the past few years, I've noticed myself finding more balance and inner harmony. It feels like I've been arriving at a kind of golden middle, a place where I can evaluate myself more objectively. I can say, this is something I'm good at, and this is not so much. I do really well here, but over there I'm just average. And I've reached a point where I can genuinely say someone else might be more successful, more talented, or more beautiful, and it doesn't hurt my self-esteem. It doesn't make me feel less worthy or undeserving. I think that's what emotional maturity is. That's been my personal journey, but I know for others it can look very different. Some people start out with really low self-esteem and gradually find balance over time. When I talk about age, I mean it loosely. It's a very individual thing. I've heard that was used to be considered the 30-year-old crisis for my generation is now happening much earlier, sometimes at 25 or even younger. The world moves so fast today, and social media puts enormous pressure on people. And if it's hard even for adults to handle that pressure and keep up with all the expectations, just imagine how overwhelming it must feel for teens or someone who's only 18. So yes, even in your early 20s, you can go through what feels like a full-on identity crisis. Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you. Have you gone through something similar? It took me a long time to realize that honest, objective self-awareness is actually the key to real growth. Self-acceptance also means emotional forgiveness, letting go of guilt, shame, or resentment toward yourself. It's about being able to look at your choices and actions with compassion, understanding the context you were in at the time. That really hits home for me. I'm a sensitive person, and to some extent I struggle with anxiety. I can replay a single uncomfortable moment in my head over and over, analyzing things that honestly don't need that kind of scrutiny. I'll think, should I have said that, or how did they take it? The older we get, the more experiences we go through. We gain life experience, and yes, we make mistakes. Sometimes we get hurt, feel ashamed, or fail in ways that shake us. And if you haven't made peace with yourself, all of that starts to pile up. It becomes a weight. Like every year you're carrying one more heavy bag, and moving forward gets harder and harder. So where does that lightness go? The courage to take risks, the excitement of trying new things, the inspiration to create or explore. It doesn't disappear, it's still in you, but it gets buried under layers of unresolved pain, regret, and self-judgment. The real burden isn't the mistakes, it's how we carry them. It's what we haven't forgive ourselves for. But once you learn to accept your flaws, once you see every misstep as a lesson, part of your path, and once you can truly say thank you for the experience, something shifts. You feel lighter, freer, like you can finally breathe again. I once worked with a coach who gave me a really powerful exercise. She asked me to fill a heavy bag with anything, books, clothes, whatever, and then crawl into the most uncomfortable place I could find. I picked a narrow closet. So there I was cramped in that space, holding this heavy bag, feeling all the physical discomfort that represented my emotional burden, the pain, the fear, the regrets. And I had this realization: I'm the only one who gets to decide how long I stay in here, a day, a week, a year, my whole life. Or I could just let it go, step out of that closet, put the weight down, and in that moment I could feel how much energy gets freed up when you stop carrying things you've long outgrown. This practice helped me deeply realize something important: through the body, through sensations. Sometimes we can't reach inner insight with words alone. The body remembers everything, and through it much can be released. Letting go of the idea "I'll be happy when," recognizing that we have the right to be happy right now, even if our life is far from ideal. The truth is, a person can always find a reason not to be happy, and it turns out this doesn't depend on external factors, but only on the person themselves. Let me share a story. A prince lived who from childhood was given everything: the best toys, the sweetest fruits, the warmest words. They created a separate world for him, without suffering, pain, old age, or death. He was protected from everything that could overshadow joy. But even in this artificial paradise, he didn't feel truly happy. Wells didn't feel something deep inside. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more, something that couldn't be bought or built. One day he stepped outside the castle where he lived, and for the first time he saw old age, illness, and death. The world no longer seemed perfect, and he left. He gave up everything he had and entered an extreme, complete renunciation of pleasures, strict asceticism, silence, fasting. But even there, happiness didn't come. Poverty didn't bring the answer, just as Wells hadn't. And only when he let go of extremes did he find clarity. Happiness, as it turned out, isn't what you have or don't have. It's within, in balance. This prince is now known to the whole world. We call him Buddha. Why do we so often feel like we are not good enough? The feeling "I'm not good enough" is a deep psychological issue that affects many people. It can show up in all areas of life: relationships, career, personal growth. It's not just a self-doubt, but a deep-rooted belief that you don't measure up to certain standards or expectations. There are many reasons why this feeling can develop. Social pressure. Society imposes standards of beauty, success, relationships, and even lifestyle. From magazine covers and advertisements to Instagram feeds and TikTok, we are constantly exposed to idealized images: perfect bodies, luxury purchases, happy families, and widely successful careers by age 25. When our real lives don't match up with those images, it can create feelings of inadequacy and even inferiority. Often we fall in love with the idea of being someone, an actor, a startup founder, a rock star, but do we really want the life that comes with it? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. The truth is, not everyone actually wants it deep down. A lot of people like the outcome, not the process, and not everyone is willing to walk the whole path. So before you get inspired by someone and say "I want that too," pause and ask yourself: do I want their life or just the highlight reel? Am I willing to embrace the struggles, not just the rewards? Because true fulfillment doesn't come from chasing someone else's dream, it comes from understanding your own. Because only those who are truly passionate about their craft can stick with it. They don't do it for the guarantee or the reward, they do it because they have to. It's their calling. That's why the most important thing is not to copy someone else's path, but to find your own. Listen to yourself. That's where your strength is. Comparing yourself to others isn't helpful. It's often unfair. You don't know the full story of the person you are measuring yourself against. Maybe you're comparing your first step to their hundreds, or maybe what looks like success to you is actually a heavy burden they're barely carrying. Ask yourself honest questions. Did I become a little wiser, stronger, or kinder today than I was yesterday? Did I take even one small step toward my dreams? That's what real progress looks like. not loud victories but quiet, consistent effort. Consistency, self-awareness, and inner honesty, that's what truly moves you forward. In today's world where it's so easy to lose yourself, staying authentic is more important than ever. Your authenticity is your greatest asset. It's what brings you peace within and lasting success. Past trauma, especially from childhood or adolescence, can have a deep and lasting impact on how we see ourselves. Negative experiences, even ones that seem minor at first glance, can leave marks and shape our self-image for years. They can create deep insecurities, fear of rejection, or doubts about our self-worth. This is especially important when we consider how rarely men are encouraged to talk about their feelings. Many are taught not to cry, not to admit when something hurts, and to avoid seeking psychological help. Their emotional wounds often get buried deep inside, only to resurface later as insecurity, relationship struggles, and even aggression. Fortunately, in today's world, more and more people are starting to become aware of this. That's why so many are turning to therapy, beginning to unpack old stories and look for the roots of their inner pain. If you feel the past traumas are still affecting you, please don't hesitate to seek help. There is no weakness in that. On the contrary, it's a sign of maturity and deep strength. Perfectionism. If you place unrealistic expectation on yourself, you will never feel good enough. For example, I first started experiencing perfectionism during my childhood, and sometimes it has really gotten in the way of life and growth. That constant feeling of not measuring up to a standard, one you created in your own mind, can be deeply exhausting. You're not satisfied with yourself, you lose motivation, you criticize yourself harshly, and you fall into procrastination out of fear that what you do won't be good enough. Perfectionism is a trap, and an easy one to fall into, especially if you grew up with high expectations placed on you. It often disguises itself as wanting to do your best, but in reality it can slow down your progress and drain you emotionally. Procrastination, burnout, and internal pressure, these are all side effects of perfectionism, and the worst part is you never feel good enough, even though right now you're already doing enough, and that is more than enough. Perfectionism comes in different forms. There is the healthy kind that helps you grow and the unhealthy kind that drains you. Adaptive healthy perfectionism is when your drive for quality inspires and motivates you, but you're not afraid of making mistakes. You understand that mistakes are part of the learning process. It's when you can say to yourself, I did the best I could at this stage, and that's enough. Maladaptive neurotic perfectionism is a different story. It's not about inspiration. It's about fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. It's when you keep putting things off because you're afraid the result won't be perfect. Or when even after achieving something you feel no satisfaction because you immediately find something to criticize. The tricky part is that healthy perfectionism can gradually turn into unhealthy without you even noticing. That's why it's so important to stay self-aware and catch the warning signs early. Signs of maladaptive perfectionism: constant fear of failure or being judged, procrastination due to unrealistically high standards, harsh self-criticism even after accomplishing a goal, persistent feeling that nothing is ever good enough. And the consequences can be serious: emotional burnout, anxiety, depressive moods, struggles in relationships, loss of joy and satisfaction in life. That's why I'm learning to let go, to give myself permission to be imperfect, to keep doing even if it's not perfect. Because here is a phrase I try to remind myself of: perfect is the enemy of good. And the most important part of this video: how to learn to accept yourself. The first step towards self-acceptance is understanding yourself. It's about turning in and noticing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So often we feel anxious, irritated, or down, but we can explain why. Only when we begin to look inward and ask ourselves simple but important questions: what I'm feeling right now? Why is this triggering me? What do I truly want? Awareness starts to emerge. You can explore this self-understanding either on your own or with the help of a therapist. Some people prefer quiet inner reflection while others keep a journal. For example, I often think things through while walking or taking a bath. When my body is relaxed in the bath, insights tend to come naturally. My husband, on the other hand, writes a lot. Journaling is his way of hearing himself. The key is to find what works for you. you. Because if you live for years in the cycle of work, home, family responsibilities without carving out time for yourself, the connection with your inner self fades away. And without that connection, self-acceptance simply isn't possible. You can't accept someone you don't even know. That's why it helps to start with the basics, with your body. Listen to it. Where does it hurt? Maybe it's time for a massage, or to finally get those lab tests done. Buy the vitamins you've been putting off for months. The body gives us signals, and understanding ourselves begins with paying attention to those signals. If you're looking for a deeper understanding of the mind-body connection, I recommend the book The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. In it, the author explains, based on clinical research, how trauma is stored in the body and how simple awareness practices can gradually release its hold on us. To learn to accept yourself, you also need a supportive environment. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and accept you as you are. Whether that's close friends, family members, or a professional therapist you can open up to. Unfortunately, not everyone is lucky enough to have an ideal support system, even within their own family. In that case, try to minimize contact with those who drain you or undermine your confidence, and seek support where it's available, even online. There are countless communities on social media, forums, and free support chats where people share their stories and lift each other up. Even YouTube channels with psychological content can be a source of comfort in difficult time. The most important thing is your willingness to seek support. If you are open to searching, the resources will always be there. Practicing affirmations and gratitude. Affirmations help reinforce a positive self-image. For example, in my fitness app Whispers, you can set up daily affirmations to be delivered at a convenient time, either in the morning or evening. It may seem like a small thing, but when you read words like I'm worthy of love or I trust in my own strengths, it warms your heart and your brain begins to internalize these beliefs as truth. Sometimes an affirmation arrives at just the right moment. You're feeling unsure and suddenly a message reminds you, let go of doubt, you've got this. Also, make a habit of regularly expressing gratitude for your own achievements and skills. We often overlook our progress or even downplay it. Ask yourself, what can I praise myself for today? And find at least one reason to say, I did great, or I'm proud of myself. This simple acknowledgement of your effort brings motivation and emotional comfort. Why it works? Affirmations shift your focus toward your strengths, not your fears. Gratitude builds the habit of noticing the good, even when life feels messy. Together, they boost dopamine and serotonin, as they feel-good hormones that improve mood and motivation. By practicing affirmations and gratitude constantly, you can quiet your inner critic, recognize your growth, and move toward self-acceptance with more confidence. Self-acceptance is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Every day brings new challenges, doubts, and emotional waves. And in those moments, it's important to pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself, I'm doing the best I can, and that's enough. Every small step toward yourself, every yes to your feelings, even if it's just a minute of meditation or a few calming breaths, helps you build inner strength and stability. Self-acceptance means daily attention to your needs and boundaries, rest, connection, creativity, ongoing care for your body and mind, movement, quality sleep, time for silence and recovery, inner freedom from others' expectations and unrealistic standards. True happiness it begins when you allow yourself to be exactly who you are, with all your strengths and flaws. Remember, you're already good enough just as you are. Every experience, every mistake, and every victory is an essential part of your unique story. If this video was helpful or inspired you to give yourself a little more care, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episodes. See you in the next video.